Welcome back. In today's video I'm gonna show you a hack job. This is just horrible installation. It should not have happened. Not so much the ductwork, but mainly this gas electric furnace. You can see right there how tight it is to the roof rafters. It should not have been installed. The code is 30 inches and this is not 30 inches. 30 inches would be the minimum. And look at that. Even my customer is asking what would go better, a package unit or, because I think he kind of smelled it when I was looking around, and he probably just by looking at it figured out that it was too tight. And then right there you see they couldn't get to everything, so they left a big gap right there. And I think other people have been to his job and probably told him stuff that needs to be done, like drain pans. He was mentioning a drain pan, but there's no way to put it right there. There's no space. Yeah, the drain for the evaporator coils on the other side.
Yeah.
And then the drain for the furnace is right here.
Oh, this is for the furnace.
Yeah, because this is a condensing furnace, you need to put a drain pan underneath it just in case that condensation should leak. One of the hoses could leak, which does happen. Eventually with age, they do become brittle and break apart. Or if the evaporator coil's condensate line is to ever leak, you would want to have that drain pan there. Either route it to the outside over a window so that you can have a clear signal that something's wrong, or you can connect a safety overflow switch and that will turn off all the power to the furnace, and that way you will be notified. Yeah, obviously you're gonna know that there's something wrong with it. So this house had two attic access. This is the other one. You're looking at the front of the evaporator coil, and at the same time the back of the furnace is to the right. For whatever reason they decided that they wanted to connect it backwards. You could have easily connected the copper in the front with a little bit of extra work, yes, by installing a little transition, but they chose not to. They thought it was easier to install it backwards. And right there I was just showing you that they twisted that 3/8 going into the metering device. And for whatever reason, they never tightened the sensing bulb from the TXV. For whatever, I don't know why it's so difficult to figure out those straps. But wait, there's more. What is this? Oh my God. I cannot imagine what happened here. Did they forget to put it in there? Did they just, is that an extra one? Is that the one they grabbed from the piston? I know the piston comes with one. But scary to see that there, because now you wonder, right? What did they do? Here's the gap from the other angle. I already showed you from the other side, the gap between the evaporator coil and the furnace, which needs to be sealed. And I was on this side just to take a look with the drains, see what's going on there. They put the vent on the wrong side. The vent is supposed to go after the trap, not before. But they did use some nice hanging hardware for the furnace and the unistrut, which I like. It makes it look more professional. It's more firm. It's easier to level it or give it a little bit of pitch. And this is what they have on the roof. See what I mean? These guys sell nice equipment, but they just install it in the worst possible way, and that's the sad part. The ducts weren't too bad. I'm gonna give them that. The ducts weren't too bad. I found them to look acceptable. So this is one thing that I like about Lennox. I don't really work on Lennox too much, but that little compartment you see right there, right above the line set, that is so nice. You're able to just take that little cover off and put your meters, your clamp, your temperature probe. You're able to put it on the discharge line from the compressor. So that's a big plus that I'm gonna give Lennox. That's a smart idea. It shows that they were thinking ahead. They were thinking about how are they gonna be able to service this unit, and they made it easier by putting that cover there. Okay, so now I'm going to restrap this bulb. They only had one screw, but I think it was okay. I was able to tighten it up nice and tight with that one screw. I'm sure two would have been better, but I didn't have a second screw for that bracket. I usually have extra ones, but in this case I did not. So I just used that one screw, but I was confident that it was tight enough. The bulb was not moving, and I think it was applying even pressure to the bulb. All right, so for this gap underneath the evaporator coil and the furnace, I'm gonna use this mastic tape. It's a foil tape with a really sticky substance. Once you stick it on there, and then if you squeegee it on with it's like a little white plastic spatula, man, that stuff is not going anywhere. So I decided to put that on the bottom and to help to close up that gap or that leak, because right now they're losing air between that furnace and that evaporator connection. They used duct sealer on the top and in the front. Looks really tight and sealed, but underneath, for whatever reason, they either they forgot or they just didn't care. But I know it's tight, but it had to be done because it's losing a lot of air from underneath there. So I'm gonna show you the little plastic spatula. It's made by Polycan, or actually comes in a box of the Polycan tape. That's the brand name, Polycan. You just squeegee it on, and that's it. Once you do that, it's not gonna be very easy to take that off. I've tried to before, and it's just a mess. It's easier to just cut in between with your knife rather than try to pull that off. So in this scenario, my customer was a little bit low on refrigerant, and he chose to go with this leak sealer. He didn't want to pay to do a leak search because he was not very low on refrigerant, only a little bit low. I advised him, I let him know that it could be just it was never charged properly, or sometimes when guys come and they connect their gauges with their long hoses, they take some refrigerant with them in their hoses, and over time the refrigerant level might go low. But this was his decision. He said that it hasn't been serviced very much, so he thinks that it's either a small leak or it was never charged correctly. So we're gonna put some of this oil-based leak sealer. It's a little hard because I should have been using the gun. There's a little gun, like a caulking gun, that you can use for that, and it'll make it a lot easier, but I decided to use just my muscles. I had my spinach that morning and I felt like I could handle it, so I did that. Apparently I didn't have enough spinach, so I couldn't squeeze the sealer inside the system. I didn't have enough strength without that caulking gun. So what I ended up doing is I closed the liquid line temporarily. And I kept an eye on the suction line pressure, and when I saw it go down below, I think it was 60, like once it went down below 60, I squeezed that leak sealer in there easily without any problems, and then I quickly opened the liquid line again, and that's how I was able to get that leak sealer in there. And then I went ahead and added a little bit of refrigerant, topped it off, and yeah, that's it. We're pretty good from then on. I haven't heard back from the customer. This is an old video, by the way. I have a lot of videos that are just stockpiled, trying to get them out, but when I get busy, because I am a one-man operation, it becomes very hard to put them videos out. As much as I like to do this is my hobby. I do this not for money. I do this as a hobby. Yeah, my videos are monetized, but that's because who wouldn't mind getting a little bit back for their hobby? It's an expensive hobby. So other than that, this was pretty typical of what I find in most areas, most service calls that I go to. There's always something wrong. If it's not, usually it's a ductwork. In this case, the ductwork was not too bad. Obviously, they didn't have enough return, but other than that, the supply ducts were okay. The main problem here was that they should have gone with a package unit, a rooftop unit, and no problem with ducting it from the attic. It's just that they should have gone with a rooftop unit. Even the customer knew that without me saying anything. When I was there peeking, I'm sure you saw in the beginning of the video, when I was there just looking, he was telling me, what do you think, a rooftop unit would have been better, or this? Obviously I spoke my mind, and I let him know that a rooftop unit would have been much better decision, much better choice.